the red card obviously was fairly crucial. What was your take on it? Was it a sending off in your opinion?
Well, see, I hate seeing anyone getting sent off in any match. I don't mind if it's, I suppose, something that's done on purpose or that. So them kind of tackles we've seen in the semi-final as well. Listen, in the rule book you can say everything is nearly a sending off. Me personally, I wouldn't. He came in, there was hailstorms, there was sleet, there was rain, there was thunderstorms here in Croke Park. Conditions were terrible. Came in, you want your forwards to attack with intensity. Maybe jostle him out over the line. Came out forward, just mistimed the tackle. Cottle Barrett probably, was able to shimmy around him, and so for me, I wouldn't be sending off guys.
Yeah, well, it's very 50-50 because you see a very quick sidestep by Barrett, and at that point Hogan had maybe committed to the tackle. I know his elbow comes up high, but in the heat of battle, things move fairly quickly.
Yeah, and it's the speed of the game, and shoulder and that is a major part of the game. But listen, it's done now, and I'm not going to make a big thing of it. It's a 50-50 kind of a one. So listen, I think Tipperary really it's their efficiency. I felt before the game, whoever's going to be execute the skills of the game. I just felt intensity-wise we'd all be the same. I felt character-wise both teams are very similar this year. So I felt whoever was going to execute the skills of the game today was going to win. And their stick passing was absolutely off this world after the first couple of minutes. The goal from Niall O'Mara, he had a lot of work to do to score that goal. Shimmied left, shimmied right. Conor Fordy kept shadowing him out, but he kept going and finally got to the 21 just down below and nailed it to the bottom right hand corner. Not easy to get one past Owen Murphy either, so absolutely wonderful goal by Niall O'Mara. So I thought the efficiency of that Tipperary forward line was crucial today.
And look, I suppose it's one thing to get space, it's another thing to use it. And their forwards have been denied a lot of space, Tipperary, in the first half. And then when they had the extra player, they used that space extremely well. 2 goals and 7 points in the first 16 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, so I felt goals win games, and that was the major difference for most of that game. Albeit in the last couple of minutes, a good couple of subs for Tipperary came on and scored. But up to that, I felt that there wasn't much in the game other than the goals. And, Callan, Bubbles, as you said, Will, they love that space, so they were getting the ball. And even Callan for Bubbles' goal, he could have tapped that ball over the bar, but he came in at the last minute. He saw Bubbles out of the corner of his eye, lovely stick pass in and over the bar. There was another stage in the second half. Bubbles was kind of out around that Cusack stand side again, looked up, a really, really slick pass into Jason Ford over the bar. So their hurling ability, no one ever questioned it, and today was for all to see. And it's an outstanding win. I think 325 to 20 points, which is some scoring on All-Ireland final day.
Seamus Callan, we spoke in the hurling show a few times this year about just his different role this year. Sheedy has him working very hard. Even though first half he wasn't getting ball and wasn't getting scores, he was there in that second half to be both the finisher and also the provider, crucially, for Bubbles' goal as well. What have you made of the way he's played in 2019?
Yeah, I thought it was Sheedy stamp all over it. Named him captain, put him on the freeze, but also the freeze weren't going well for Callan early in the league. Took him off the freeze, gave him to Jason Ford. Callan didn't take the hump. He knew Sheedy was the right man. He knew he had the best interest of the team at heart, Sheedy. And give him the captaincy. Callan is a leader. He strives in that sort of a role. And we saw that a couple of years ago when he was in and out of the team. But Eamon came in. Eamon O'Shea came in and really gave him belief, and since that he has never really looked back. And Sheedy came in this year then and gave him even more belief. But I'd say it was said to him at the start of the year, I don't care about your scores, I want you leading this attack with your work rate, because if someone sees your top player doing it, then everyone else kind of copies. We're like copycats. And Callan was definitely the leader from day one. Go back to November.
I think Adrian Mullen will probably still win Young Hurler of the Year, but with so much speculation before the game whether he was going to play. He was ill during the week, problem with his appendix and stuff as well. He obviously wasn't 100% right for today by the looks of it. Came off early as well.
Yeah, well, I think he got a knee injury there during that game. But in fairness, the first 20 minutes, when it was tight, there was mostly frees being scored. Mullen is kind of a guy who will stay battling, and then when it opens up, like the Bubbles and the Callanans, then he spreads his wings and gets onto a few balls and over the bar. He's averaged great scores this year for Kilkenny, for a youngster, only 19 years of age. But I don't know how sick he was, but he didn't look too bad there today, which is a testament to him, because he probably was. Everybody knows you'd rather go out with a hurt ankle than be sick any day of the week. So I thought, until that knee injury that he got, it was heavily strapped going off, he was putting in a good shift.
Until the red cards, Kilkenny, without hurling particularly well, we're still very much in that game. We're only a point down at half time. TJ slotting over the frees, keeping things ticking over. In a parallel universe, the red card doesn't happen. Would that game have been a lot closer second half?
Who knows, Will, and I'm not going to speculate, because there's absolutely nobody knows. 2016 we had no man sent off, and they still put up 229. So listen, you hang in there and you hang in there. We've seen, as I've said before, teams with 14 men winning All-Irelands. We've seen them win All-Ireland semi-finals, and today was just not meant to be the day for Kilkenny. They put in Brendan Maher and TJ Reid, and kind of followed him around the place. And while TJ did quite well, he kept them fairly quiet on the scoring charts. I thought the Tipperary backs were colossal.
We talk about forwards a lot. Just to talk about that defence, I mean, Ronan Maher was brilliant against Wexford, did an incredible job, particularly when they were down to 14 themselves that day. Did a wonderful job again today, and the other Mahers in that back line as well. They had a huge game today at Tipperary defence.
Yeah, Ronan Maher, myself and yourself were speaking about it earlier on. We felt that he was in the shake-up for the man of the match in the All-Ireland semi-final as well. He's one of these inspirational type hurlers. Like, if I was to guess that, he's probably below on the Sarsfields hurling pitch 7 days a week, poking a ball off the wall, and he was just tremendous. Just the sheer strength of him as well. And we all love hurlers and natural hurlers, and he doesn't depend on his speed. He depends on his ability to read the game, on his ability to dog out a 50-50 battle to win that ball. There was loads of them there today, and he came up with the answers time after time. And his brother is that bit older than him. He was tremendous again. He'll have to go down as one of the best halfbacks of the modern era. Never really is less than an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Always attacking the ball. You don't have to be going back defending all the time. The best way of defence is nearly attack. You've often been told that as an under 14 or an under 16. Get out in front of your man and win that ball. Barack Maher done that time and time again. And he showed with a dive and block there at one stage, and I think it was Walter Welch. And not alone was he happy with that, we went into the ruck, won the next ball, and came bursting out of the fence. And that was inspirational for all them Tipperary players. I said earlier on as well, who deserves a lot of credit is the lesser lights, the Barry Heffernans and Seamus Kennedy. I thought they were incredible today. Seamus Kennedy as a wing back scored 2 points in an All-Ireland final when we didn't know whether he'd be starting or not today. So he's a St Mary's man. Barry Heffernan is a Nina man, so I'm sure they're all proud below.
Well, what do you make of this Kilkenny rebuild? I know Brian Cody doesn't like the term rebuild, but a lot of lads coming in for the first time this year in the Championship, Hugh Lawler, Adrian Mullen, guys who are fitting into that team, they've had to, I guess, learn on their feet a bit this year. Getting to an All-Ireland final, that's a good platform to build for going into 2020, isn't it? It
is, Will, and I thought Hugh Lawler was defiant out there today. If you go back and look at the amount of ball that went in between himself and Callan, I thought he was incredible. Callan scored, the goal in the pint, set up a goal, but, other than that, he just gave as good as he got for a youngster. He's marked all the top forwards this year. He's marked Horgan, Gallan, Conor MacDonald. He's marked all the top forwards this year, and he can hold his head up. Head high at the end of the year. Paul Murphy, I thought, was outstanding today. He was on John McGrath. At times he was on John McGrath. The Tipperary forward line were moving around, but Paul Murphy was outstanding as well in his defiance today. They were never going to let Tipperary lads walk all over him. So Kilkenny, they're youngsters. Conor Brown putting a good shift midfield. So yeah, we've youngsters there, and even the likes of TJ and that, they're only 31 or that years of age. So we'll stay trying to add and build and start again from scratch next year.
I was looking at that Tipperary team, particularly the subs who were coming on, lads who are still involved in under 20 this year as well. That Tipperary team has got a nice production line coming along, don't they?
They do, and Sheedy's not afraid to throw them on. You'd be expecting them in their 9 points up in an All-Ireland. But the lads are doing it on the field. Let's leave them, we don't want to upset the apple. So listen, who came on? Willie Connors came on, Jake Morris came on, Mark Keogh from Kilsheelan came on, and every one of them scored. They were outstanding, and before the All-Ireland semi-final against Wexford, people were wondering, Tipperary don't really have a panel It's the number 1 to 15. That's all they have, and if they don't produce it, they won't really have anything to come off the bench. But their bench showed there today that there was plenty of room for I suppose getting on that team next year, and they will challenge next year. But the under 20s, as you said, that will give them great confidence going into the final.
Putting pressure on you, because they'll talk about it tonight, I'm sure, at the All-Star Awards and the ceremony and so on coming up. The Hurler of the Year for this year, we kind of thought last week TJ is probably the front runner for it. Has Callanan really put himself into the picture to maybe overtake TJ with the performance today?
Yeah, I would say TJ, Callanan, Rona Mar and Pádraig Mar. I would say that, who knows who's going to get it. Listen, I don't want to be kind of putting influence anyone really, to be honest about it, because I think the players vote on the Hurler of the Year, and we'll see how it goes. But whichever of them were to win it, you couldn't begrudge them. And the 4 of them are absolutely outstanding this year, 5 of them.
I don't know how you felt, but I thought Callanan was maybe unlucky not to win it in 2016. The vote was kind of split, and Ozzie Gleeson won, who had a great year as well. But, I suppose it can be difficult when the All-Ireland finalists get 2 people nominated. Yeah,
I suppose you're right. And Callanan was outstanding for a couple of years there. I'd say he was nominated for Hurler of the Year probably 3 times even. And unlucky not to get it. But listen, he won't care. He's after scoring another goal in All-Ireland final. He scored a goal in every championship this year. He's moving up the charts to be the all-time top goal scorer, even though he'll never get that, because I think Nicky Rackard has 1 million goals. But I think Nicky Rackard could have, 59 goals, I heard during the week, some amazing stat anyway. So he'll probably fight to get up to number 2 possibly. But, if you go back over Callanan's record in championship over the last 10 years, he made his debut in 2008, I reckon, and he was an All-Star nomination that year when no one really knew about him. Then was on and off the team, but then when he made the team, then I'd say it was around 2014. That was it. He went from strength to strength, and I think his leadership this year was absolutely amazing.
TJ Reid, in terms of his leadership, in terms of what he's done for this year, he's going to finish championship top scorer. He's averaged nearly 13 points a game. That's just remarkable. And we saw the difference between, say, Kilkenny with TJ and without when you compared the end of the league to championship. As an individual, he just makes such a difference to that team.
He does, and they had 3 more players. The Joey Holden, who had a terrific year as well, really energetic, really hungry. That Adrian Mullen and Colin Fennelly, who are after having outstanding campaigns for Kilkenny. So the 3 of them coming in alone was a great shot in the arm for that Kilkenny team. I heard one of the Cork lads, I think it was the Rock, talking during the week that when Newtown Shandrum won the Club All-Ireland in 2005, Ben and Jerry came back in onto the panel, and probably Pat Mulcahy, and it gave them a major shot in the arm going forward for the year. The 4 boys, in fairness, did that for Kilkenny this year. TJ, what more can be said about him? He's even in losing there today, the balls he won out of the air and on the ground there today was terrific. It was always going to be hard to score, especially when you're man marked and you're the top man. We've seen a lot of the forwards when they get man marked like that, it's not simple, and especially against a Tipperary team like that, because Tipperary will put Brendan Maher, man mark and TJ, but they still had Rona Mar, Pádraig Mar and all these guys, Cathal Barrett, tearing around the place, winning balls. So I thought TJ was outstanding. Another guy I suppose I never mentioned today, but I felt he was the real glue this year for Tipperary, Cathal Barrett. In the full back line you need pace and you need this and that, and the full back changed from match to match. But if you've good corner back like that, that's when you work as a unit. He might do the dogging and the speed work, and the full back can do the hurling. And I thought, Cathal Barrett was definitely a major part of this All-Ireland team.
Just before we go, I'm going to ask you about Liam Sheedy, because 9 years between championship wins over Brian Cody and All-Ireland finals. Very kind of bizarre stat with the way it's worked. But he's come straight back into this Tipperary team, who did underperform last year and didn't get out of the province. A lot of people wondered when he brought guys in like Tommy Dunn and Eamon O'Shea, who had a lot of experience, managing and training teams themselves, that this was maybe a risky call when you're trying to be the manager yourself. It's proved to be very fruitful in the end for him.
It has, and I think he realised that nothing beats being here, as the GA often say. There's no feeling will ever top that. To come back, even if they weren't to win today, he's there in work, and 5:30, 6 o'clock comes along, he knows he's heading down to Thurles to go training. That has to be an epic feeling, going down amongst all the lads, driving on for the Waterford Crystal now is taken serious, the league is taken serious, and the championship. So right from minute one, you have great games ahead of you. So I think it was the draw of that. He realised that, the likes of up and doing the TV work and that, while it's good, nothing beats being on the sideline like that. And I'm sure, whether they won or lost today, he was delighted to come back. But that's going to make it a short winter for him. And, he's really after, probably nearly top in 2010 really today.
I know Di Regan tried to recruit you as a manager earlier this year, but did you ever get the bug to go coaching or management yourself, or is it still far too early for you?
Well, I'm still hurling, so I've the bug of hurling still. So
stop Eddie Brennan.
Yeah, but he didn't kind of goes training when he finishes the managing towards. I'd rather be training every day. So, but no, I'll never go out doing inter-county or anything like that. I'll be back with the club, with the under-7s at the moment. There's 5 or 6 of us there, kind of doing the job, and that's what I love.
Well, look, enjoy the rest of the club campaign. Thanks, Tommy.
Man, Will, thank you.